Get started. Okay, so today we're gonna just use the IDE. So I'm gonna collapse everything for us to see all the assignments that we've done so far. And I'm just gonna create a folder here so that we can start with the new console application. And for us to do that, I'm gonna say .NET. Let me use git bash. Okay, so I'm gonna simply say .NET. I want to create a new console application, and the name of the application is gonna be string and math operations. I'm gonna press the enter key. So here now I have string and math operations. So I'm gonna click here and then click on the programs.cs, which is where I'm gonna have my code written, and I'm gonna make sure that I delete everything that was there before. Okay, so today we're going to start with string and math operations. So these are some of the operations that could be done on strings. And what is a string? A string is a collection of characters. So a string is a collection of characters. You can also call it text. Okay, so what are the various operations that we can do in a string? So these are the operations that you'll be doing on a string as you are working with strings. So I'm going to declare a string. So for me to declare a variable string, I'm going to say string, which is the data type, and I'm going to say name, and I'm going to say is equal to, then in double quotes, I'm going to put the string, and I'm going to say Augustine Emeka. So this is a string. We say that string is a collection of characters, and I'm going to close this statement with a semicolon. So these are characters. This AUGSTNE, all these are characters. So a collection of this character is known as a string. Or this collection of this text is also known as a string. And this string has been assigned the variable name. So with this now, I can start manipulating this string. So the first thing I'm going to do about this string is that I should be able to get the length of this string, which is the number of characters that are in this string of name. And for me to do that, I can simply say console.writeLine name.length. So I can say console dot writeLine. Then in brackets, I'm going to say name.length. So in brackets, I'm going to say name.length. Just note that the length, the L starts in capital letter. So once I have this, I can save this now. Then I come down here and I do, first of all, I have to change my directory by saying CD. CD stands for change directory. That means change the folder and go into the folder with the name. string and math operations, which is the name of this folder that I'm working on, or this application. So once I'm in this folder, which is where I am now, I can then do .NET run to run this application so that I can see the value of name.length. So name.length simply means I want to count the number of letters inside the string. And you can see now that I have 15. Because when I count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that is the length of this string. So it's simply saying, console, please write me in a line the length of name. So you should count the number of characters in name. And we know that name is simply Augustine Emeka. So it was able to count it. So the next thing I can do is that I can console.write line the name, then make it uppercase. And to do that, I simply say console.write line, then in brackets, close the semicolon, but in bracket I can say what? Name dot to upper. The T starts in capital and the U also. To upper. Then I put this opening and closing bracket. Then if I save this by doing Control S, then I come down here again and run this. So I will not only have the 15, but I will also have converting this string to uppercase. So upper simply means convert everything to uppercase. Then you can now see now we have Augustine-Emeka, all in uppercase. So who can tell me the difference between this line 5 and line 7 in terms of the configuration of the two things that I've written? Can you spot any difference? Okay, so if you spotted the difference correctly, you are going to see that this second line that I wrote has this opening and closing of this bracket in front of this to upper. But here it does not have it. It just had this this bigger brackets, but this inner one it does not have. But in the upper one, it does not have the inner bracket, only the outer bracket, but this down one has this other inner bracket that is empty. So whenever you see immediately after saying something like name dot to upper, then you have this smaller bracket here or this inner bracket, it simply means that this is a method, but this is a property. A property does not need to have bracket after writing the name of the property. So this is a method and this is a property. Just like I explained in classes or in objects that always have the properties and the function. So this is a function because you're trying to perform an action, which is to take something from the case it was to uppercase. Whereas this is an identity, it's telling us the length of this name. Okay, so now we'll go to the next operation and we can say console dot write line, and this time around we want to say name dot, instead of to upper we have to lower. To lower, it's also a method. So once I write that, I'll do Control S to save. Then I come down here and do .NET run so that I'll see the effect of to lower. So when you say to lower, it simply means that we are converting all the letters of this string to smaller letter, all the characters of this string to smaller letter. So that is how you do that. So where can we use such an operation as this? We can use such an operation as this, like in emails. You find out that sometimes when you're typing emails, as you're typing, no matter the case that you're typing the email in, you'll be seeing it in smaller letter. So if you also go to fill some forms online, you find out that no matter the letter you're typing it, it's always in uppercase. Why? Because they've written a program that converts everything that you've typed into uppercase or into lowercase using this dot to lower or dot to upper functions or methods. So once you type them in, the computer automatically converts them to uppercase because that is what the person that programmed that application, that's their intention, to get everything in uppercase before they are sent to the database. Okay, so that is one of the functions of this. So you can write a function that takes in all the text that somebody has supplied in an online form and make it upper by using this dot to upper. Okay, so the next operation that we're going to be looking at is contains. So I'm going to have console. You remember that this console, the right line that we're having in front, we're only having it because we want to be able to see it in our console. So they are not the actual program we are writing, but we are putting in them there because we want to be able to see this in the console so that we'll see what the function or what the method has turned this into. So I'm going to simply say name dot contains. So I want to know whether the name contains the word Emeka. So does it contain the word Emeka? So I'm going to do Control S to save. So if it contains the word Emeka, it's going to tell me true. If it does not, it's going to tell me false. Okay. So does it contain Emeka? You can see it is true here. It's showing me true because the variable name contains Emeka. You can see this variable name, it contains Emeka. But what if I say whether it contains Tolu? You can see this name here is Augustine Emeka, so it does not have Tolu in any way. So if I do Control S to save, then I come down here and run again, then I'll see whether it will be true or false. So you can see now it is false now because name simply contains Augustine Emeka and there's no Tolu in it. Okay, so that is another operation. So these are operations that you can make happen on a string. So you can turn a string into an uppercase string. You can turn a string into a lowercase string. You can check whether a string contains a particular word. So that's why we call these operations on a string. All these are operations that could happen to a string. Now I'm going to check another one. And I'm going to say string. I'm going to create a new string. And I'm going to call it new name. And I'm going to say that this new name is equal to name dot replace Augustine with Tolu. Name dot replace in bracket Augustine with Tolu. So I'm going to have this So I'm trying not to use the IntelliSense to write. Okay, good. So I'm going to save this. So what this is saying now that I'm going to have a new string called new name. But this new name is actually going to be the old name, which is Augustine Emeka. But inside it, I'm going to replace anywhere I have Augustine, I'm going to replace it with Tolu. So I'm going to console.write line the new name so that I can see what the new name is now. So here now, I'm going to run this again so that I'm going to see my new name, which is now I'm having Tolu Emeka instead of Augustine Emeka. You can see Augustine has been replaced with Tolu. So that is the replace function or the replace method. So when you're using the replace method, you have to mention the string that you want to be replaced. Then you mention the string that you want to use to replace it. So that is the replace function. Okay. Now the next thing will be to split. So I'm going to create a new string. And you know, whenever you're creating a new string, you must start with the data type. But this string now is not going to be an ordinary string. It's going to be a string array. And this string array, the name of the variable is going to be parts. And what this parts is, this simply means that I want to split the string name into different parts. So I'm going to use the keyword split. Now in splitting it, what do I want to split it with? I want to split it with single quotes. So we're going to see an example where we split with other things apart from single quotes. But I'm going to be splitting this one with single quotes. So now I'm going to say Control S to save. Now, this means that this name has been split into quotes, has been split into the various parts, which is Augustine. Augustine, you will now have A, U, G, all the letters one by one. And once I've been able to split it, I can now console them in parts. So it's now in form of an array. Let me make sure I don't have all this. So this part simply means the first letter. So we have parts at 0. 0 simply means the first letter. So here we have Augustine Emeka. The first will be A. So if I Control S to save, and I come down here and run this, so I'm going to see the first letter. I mean the first word, not the first letter, sorry, but the first word. So you can see that the first word there is Augustine because it has been split into its various parts. So if I used empty string to split, if I save now and run again, so no longer splitting with a space. If I use empty space, then it's gonna be letter A, okay? I have a build error, so let me check what the error is. Empty character retrieval. Okay, that means I have to split with a space. Okay, cool. Now we have to look at the next one, which is string interpolation. So let's say I have age to be equal to 25. Now I can then say console.writeLine console.writeLine. Then in brackets, I can now use this sign, which I think we've been using. Then with quotes, then I can say my name is, then in curly brackets, I have name. So my name is name, and I am dash years old, and I am age years old. Okay, then I can put the semicolon and Control S to save. So let me quickly squeeze this so that I can be able to see the whole page. Okay, so if I Control S to save and I come down here and I run this, so in using this string interpolation, that means I can bring in the variables in curly brackets and have them output the value. So the value of name is Augustine Emeka, and the value of age is 25. And that's why here I have my name is Augustine Emeka, and I am 25 years old. So this is what we call string interpolation. So we are combining this string together without using the plus sign. So whenever you want to add up strings together in this one, it should have been with a plus sign. But this is a short form of it by using string interpolation. So these are some of the string operations. There are still many more which we will cover as we go on. But at this point, I'm going to give us an assignment to write a simple string operation that checks a string to see whether it contains at, and also to convert an input into uppercase, and also count the characters in a sentence. So those are the assignments. So I'm going to come down here, put this and say string operations assignment. So the number one assignment is to check if an email contains the @ sign. So check if an email contains the @ sign. So what is the application of this? This is why sometimes if you try to enter an email, you want to register, do an application, you enter an email, immediately you press the next button or the apply button or the register button. It will tell you this is not a real email, because in the background that code actually checks whether it contains @ So once there is no @ sign, it will tell you this is not a real email. So you can use this for validation. So that is actually what is happening in the background. Such is used as a validation. So if you want to validate something, you can use this very check Okay, so the next assignment will be to convert input to uppercase. So convert input to uppercase. And the last one will be to count characters in a sentence. To count characters in a sentence. So those are the three assignments. And for us to do this assignment, a hint will be that this will be, we can use contains for this. For this, we can use the dot to upper. Then for these, we can use the length. Though there are other ways of doing this, but these are key points from what we've done so far. So I'm going to let us practice this. So have them done line by line, see what the effects are, so that in our subsequent class, we can solve this assignment. Then we'll look at other string operations before we go over to math operations, okay? Yes. So I think it might be good we stop here. Since we didn't have a class yesterday, I think some people might not know we are having today, so that by tomorrow they can join up. Okay. So please, let's go through this. So very importantly, we see that apart from name.length, the up to upper to lower, all these are functions. All these are methods. Contains is also a method. Replace is also a method. And that's why they have brackets in front. And these are operations that we do on a string. So string operations are the operations that we do on a string to change its value. So these are operations or manipulations. So how we manipulate our string in order to change the value of the string. So those are the string operations. Okay. So this is where we'll stop. So in subsequent classes, we're going to move further on this.